Today is Black Friday, and if you are looking for the best deals you can find, there might be a lot of AI tools that are promising you just that. Let's find out if that's true. So, if you haven't noticed, there have been a lot of AI powered shopping tools that have been picking up over the last year or so. And obviously, the claimed goal of these tools is to personalize your shopping experience, predict the hottest deals, and help you snag those must buy items that you plan to give someone for Christmas before they vanish into thin air at the cheapest price that you can. Of course, you're watching a video on my channel, so chances are these tools are probably a little bit less helpful than you might think they are, but I also think that they might be a little bit more pernicious than you think. So we're going to talk about three main categories of AI-powered shopping tools: personalized recommendation systems, AI-powered shopping assistants, and AI-powered price trackers/deal. Starting with personalized recommendations, this is almost definitely not something that you are new to if you spend absolutely any time on the internet already. I don't know about anyone else, but Instagram has me absolutely nailed in terms of things that I would buy, and it's very annoying. But this also follows you around the internet. It's the reason why you might search for a particular skincare item on one website and then start seeing ads for it on every other website. This is because of cookies. I have a whole video on it. I'll leave a link in the card thingy if you want to see it. But essentially, different websites can track your activity on other websites and get a sense of who you are as a user, what things you'd be interested in buying, and use that to optimize the ads you see online. These systems are also just embedded into specific platforms. So Amazon is kind of the obvious example here, where it will recommend different things that you might want to buy based on the things that you recently looked at, as well as your general shopping trends. I personally find that the recommendations are not very good, so I'd be really curious about people's experiences in the comments. I know, for example, that I recently bought like dishwasher tabs and laundry detergent, and on that like sidebar thing next to your cart that's like, just add these before you go, the first recommendation was colloidal silver. I don't know what I'm doing wrong on the internet where Amazon thinks that I want to buy like 32 ounces of colloidal silver, but clearly I need to stop shopping on homeopathy websites or something, a thing that I clearly do. Other tools that are kind of in this category are things like Pinterest Shop and Google Lens. In the case of Google Lens, you can take a picture of something and it will identify that object for you online. If that is an item for purchase, it will give you the link. If it's something else, it will track it down on the internet if it can. This is also then factored into your product recommendations. Pinterest does something similar based on your browsing and pinning history. It will recommend different products that you can buy on the platform. Sophia Nygaard actually did an interesting video on this, I think a week or two ago from when this video comes out, so I'd highly recommend checking it out. But essentially in that case, you often end up with AI personalized items that you should buy where the item itself is not what it appears to be in the photo, which is true of, all of the weirdly cheap Instagram ad clothing shops and a lot of really cheap stuff on TikTok. So not the most surprising, but certainly something to be aware of when it comes to personalized recommendation systems. And then there are also tools like Critero. These are standalone tools that will provide personalized recommendations to you based on your shopping history and suggest tools and suggest products that you might like. In terms of how useful these things can be for the average person, I know that I tend to be maybe not pessimistic about this, but certainly skeptical about these things. And I do want to point out that, these tools are useful for people. Like, I use some of these tools. I mean, for like Amazon and the stuff that's built into the platform, I don't really have a choice in using them, but there are certainly tools like Honey or things in that kind of category, which we'll get into the price tracking tools, that I use and I find them helpful. I think what's important though when it comes to using these types of things is to know what you're getting into when you do. And what I mean by that is the privacy implications of these things probably go a little bit deeper than you think, because these tools are tracking you across your browsing habits, your purchase history, potentially your physical location, depending on the tool. And so while this helps improve those recommendations, it also does raise some pretty serious concerns about who has your location data and what kinds of products you are influenced. And it also means that you don't necessarily know whether these tools have been incentivized in some other manner to recommend items from specific websites or specific retailers over others. And in fairness, some of that might not be intentional. We'll get into price tracking and things in a minute. but it is something to kind of keep in mind when you're using these. So our second category is AI-powered shopping assistants. As I mentioned, Amazon has a tool called Rufus. It is a prime example of this. It can answer pretty basic questions, make suggestions. In my experience, I actually find it to be pretty limited. It tends to default to recommending products that are made by Amazon, so not like Amazon sellers, but like the Amazon brand product. And in general, I've found that if you know what you're looking for, they can be helpful. Like if you're very specific about the qualities or the specifications of the thing that you're looking for, then these things can be helpful. But if you don't totally know what you're looking for, they tend to struggle a little bit more with being actually helpful. They also have a tendency to kind of miss details that I think a human being might notice, like compatibility issues or size considerations. So as with all of these tools, I generally recommend that you make sure that the thing that you are about to press buy on is actually the thing that you want to press buy on, and not just rely on assuming that this recommendation takes into account everything that you wanted. And of course, with that, I also just generally recommend doing your own research when it comes to buying these kinds of things, because as helpful as an AI-powered shopping assistant or personalized recommendations can be, it does kind of shoehorn you into like one particular lens or one particular direction. I've certainly found personally that there are times when, particularly if I'm gift shopping, but also if I'm shopping for myself, the thing that I thought I was looking for and the thing that I actually buy are not the same. Which means that if I'd used one of these tools to find the thing that I thought I originally wanted, I never would have come across that other thing in the first place. Lastly, we have AI-powered price tracking and deal prediction. This includes tools like Honey. There are other tools like it, but I feel like Honey is the one that everyone is sponsored by. But the one that I actually want to talk about is the Perplexity store. I did a TikTok/Reel/short on this, but if you're not familiar with Perplexity, it is an AI-powered search tool. You can ask it questions about things. It will do some level of research if you're on the free plan, and then deep dive research if you're on the paid plan to find articles, websites, potentially social media posts that are talking about the thing that you're asking about, and then it will compile basically a summary of the responses in a way that answers your question. It can be a helpful tool. In a lot of ways, I think it's similar to a very personalized Wikipedia, where Wikipedia has, pages on specific topics. But if you had a question that is answered by kind of multiple Wikipedia pages combined, it would provide the combined version. It actually has a Pages feature that will literally do that for you. And most recently, they've launched a store feature where you can buy things through Perplexity, directly on the website. And so the idea is that you search for an item that you're looking for. It might be, best noise canceling headphones, and it will surface headphones based on the specifications you provide and online reviews of that product. It will also look at historical price data for these things, and if it finds that there's one model where the price has dropped recently, it might recommend that you purchase that one. It will pull information from people's reviews about whether or not they thought it was high quality, things like that. It will also pull, star ratings from review to give you a sense of that. It also will track the price of these items. And so if it finds that there is one version of the item that has recently dropped the price, and you are looking to optimize for a low price, it will likely recommend that item over something more expensive. They also obviously can't necessarily account for in-store deals, bundle offers, things like that, which a lot of retailers use during the holiday season. I'll be very curious to see how it handles Black Friday, because the general challenge of Black Friday is that there's a lot of chaos in pricing changes, where you have flash sales, limited time offers, and things changing in real time. But in a similar way to the other two categories, and similar to what I talked about in that short, there is something about Perplexity Store that actually makes me distinctly more uncomfortable than all of the other ones. And I think my concern with all of these things generally is that they likely bias against things like small businesses, because even though those small businesses might offer a higher quality of the item that you're looking for, a more unique version of the item that you're looking for, the way these tools are set up is not to find those things, it's to find things that are kind of already structured in a way that you'd find on something like an Amazon or a Target or kind of these bigger like warehousey stores or like a Macy's department store, instead of on, something like someone's small business website, which if you are searching Google, you would actually potentially be more likely to find. And then of course, at a higher level, when it comes to these tools, there's the general concerns of the fact that a lot of product descriptions are written using AI now. And so those descriptions may be misleading or deceptive. A lot of pricing is actually done algorithmically based on demand. And so if you have another system that is also algorithmic influencing user behavior as it relates to those pricing systems, then I feel like that can get a little bit chaotic, and I don't know what that will do to prices. There's just literal scammers who are using AI to create, fake shopping sites, product listings, and that just makes it even harder to distinguish legitimate deals from scams. Which is not to say that I don't think that these tools and these platforms are attempting to control for those kinds of things in the interest of, making recommendations to users that are what they want and are not fake, but it's chasing a moving target, and so that is something that you can't necessarily avoid and will probably need to be on the lookout for. As an aside, there's also just the environmental impact of these things. I did an event at the Museum of Science a week ago, and one of the things that I talked about was how every time you enter something into ChatGPT, like not every conversation, but just any time you press enter, the energy required to process that is the same amount of energy that's required to run a light bulb for 20 minutes. So there are trade-offs when it comes to using any kind of technology in terms of carbon emissions or other things that you may or may not care about. But at the same time, if you care about sustainability in your shopping habits, these tools just might be having more of an impact than you realize. So is AI-powered Black Friday shopping the way of the future that we will all be using going forward? Yes and no. Obviously, recommendation systems in retail shopping have been around for a while, and they will continue to be around. So that is going to be part of our future, regardless of Black Friday or any other kinds of sales. And a lot of these tools can legitimately be useful for people. A lot of them are legitimately useful for me, but they are useful as a supplement to just doing research and finding your own stuff. At the same time, my hope is that they are not the future in the way that I think companies are trying to market it, in the sense that I think it can be useful to use these tools as a additional supplement to your traditional shopping method, but not as a replacement. They might help you track prices, get basic product information, identify potential deals. There's actually a tool that I use in Safari called, I'm totally going to forget, but I'll put it up on the screen. But essentially what it does is when I go on a clothing website, it will find secondhand versions of that item. So if there's a shirt from Abercrombie that I'm looking at, it will pull the information from the website, look around on Poshmark, Rent the Runway, other consignment resale websites, find both any options of that exact item. It also takes into account my size and stuff. And then it will also find kind of similar items based on the characteristics of the clothing item that I'm looking for. But even with that, I don't use it as my only decision-making tool. So whether or not you plan to get trampled by people who are trying to do in-store shopping on Black Friday, or get up early to do it online, if you're going to use tools like this, just make sure you're doing your own research and verifying that the items that you want to purchase are actually the items that they say they are. And I think also do some of your own searching, because you might just come across stuff that you wouldn't have come across otherwise. Because this is all ultimately about making informed decisions, and AI tools can help you make informed decisions, but they should not be your only source of information. In fact, speaking of making informed decisions, understanding how AI works can actually help you use these tools more effectively. And that's why I'm excited to tell you more about today's sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant is where you learn by doing, with thousands of interactive lessons in math, data analysis, programming, and AI. What I love about Brilliant is how it helps you build real problem-solving skills through hands-on learning, not just memorization. Whether you're working on math, programming, or AI topics, every lesson pushes you to think critically while building knowledge you can apply immediately. In fact, one course that is especially exciting and relevant to today's video is How LLMs Work. It's a deep dive into how large language models like ChatGPT operate, breaking down how they process data, generate text, and even allowing you to experiment with building your own mini language model. It's hands-on, intuitive, and honestly, a lot of fun. To try everything that Brilliant has to offer for a full 30 days, go to brilliant.org/Jordan, Scan the QR code on screen or click on the link in the description. You'll also get $20 off the annual premium subscription. Otherwise, let me know how AI is helping or hurting you. If you'd like to see me think out loud on these topics before they become videos, you can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, or watch the shorts that I post here. You can also sign up for my newsletter where I talk about these things usually in a little bit more detail, and otherwise I'll see you on the next one.